everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over a 2020 Land Rover Range Rover SV Autobiography, and it is also the long wheelbase. If you're wondering what that all means, that just means this is a fully loaded, decked out, over $200,000 like just luxury Range Rover app. It's crazy, guys. As always, a huge shout out and thank you to the Range Rover here in Salt Lake for providing us with this SV Autobiography. Definitely check out their inventory in the link below. Let's get right into the video. Under the hood of the Range Rover, we have a supercharged 5-liter V8 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 13 around town and then 19 on the highway, with power outputs being 557 horsepower and then 516 pound-feet of torque, and a 0 to 60 time of just under 5 seconds. Now let's go over the front end on the SV. So we are going to press this button and that just pops on the headlights so you guys can see what the LED lights look like. Now you do get the LED accent lights that go all the way around, but I just love the cluster in general. I think it's just a really good, elegant, unique look, and it's distinctly Range Rover. So other than that, the front end is just absolutely massive and imposing. I mean, look, that's a Ford Explorer. This thing looks like massive compared to it, and look at like other Range Rovers, it just doesn't compare. But yeah, you get parking sensors all along the front here. I love the grille. Just everything about this is just like elegant, if that makes sense. But yeah, you can definitely tell this is a Range Rover, and it's huge. Like, it is huge. Coming around the side here, we've got two 75mm tires on 22-inch rims in the front and in the rear. Now this is going to come with air suspension, so it can raise and lower the vehicle. So obviously having an adjustable ride height is super good, but looking at the actual rim design itself, I just think it looks really neat, and it just has this, like, again, this elegant, like, luxury look to it. And I mean, 22s are massive. And then I actually like these little lines that cut through. It's just like chrome trim that goes through, and then you get the little line across the body. But I actually just like those each individual lines. I just think it gives it a nice look. You do have this one line that cuts through like the entire Range Rover, so it just goes all the way through. But here is a look at a full side view on, well, the long wheelbase. Now here is the key fob on the Range Rover. You got a couple functions here. You've got the unlock, the lock, and then the release for the back. You guys saw the light control earlier, but we're gonna hold this down, and then you will see the back open up, which it opens up in two parts, which I just think that's so neat. Now coming here into the back, you have a cargo cover that is already built in right there at the top, and then underneath here you can see there's a little 12-volt, and then underneath here you actually get a full power outlet in the rear. This box right here, I'm pretty sure it's this box, actually contains the champagne glasses that come with this Range Rover SV, which obviously we're gonna let the first owner open those up. And then over here, you can actually fold down the seats. So if I press this, for example, then notice that the seat will do its little thing, and it takes a second, but it'll start folding down, so then you can, in essence, just put something through the pass-through right there. And then the spare tire is underneath here. It is kind of heavy to lift up, but you actually get a full-size spare, which is a nice little touch. But yeah, that is everything for the back. There's a couple more functions I want to show you before I close everything up. This is for the air suspension to raise and lower the rear if you are loading something in, just to make it so it's easier to get it. Now if you do have this little part up, then you can actually lower it just pressing that little button, and then it'll lower it down. But then you're like, okay, well, I want to close everything up. Just one simple button, press that up there, and then it'll do both of them in conjunction with each other. Now finishing things up in the rear, I've got the lights on for just a moment so you guys can see what the taillights look like while they are turned on. At the bottom right there, you've got the dual outlet exhaust. You've got parking sensors all along the rear. There is a little receiver hitch there at the bottom because, yep, you can tow with this, believe it or not. And then you get a little like spoiler there at the top, which does make things look a little bit sportier. But in general, again, it just has that like distinct Range Rover look, and it's huge and it's boxy in the back. Now coming into the back, this is going to be such a treat for you guys. First and foremost, notice that the running boards do pop open when you do open the rear door, and yes, this is the door on the back. It is absolutely massive, and there is just so much stuff to go over. Now, I just want to quickly show you guys the look of the door panel, but then we're actually going to go over most of the controls when we are inside of the Range Rover. but just notice the beautiful attention to detail. So you have this really nice soft touch leather that's all throughout the entire door panel, and it just looks and feels really premium. And then you've got the black trim, which you can see my reflection in there. All of your seat controls, which again, we're gonna go over those in a moment. You got the Meridian sound system, and yeah, it's so elegant back here. And here is a quick look at the seats, which again, I'm gonna show these to you more when we are popping inside, but yeah, it's crazy in the back. Well, I'm sitting back here in probably one of the most massive back seats I've ever experienced, and I need to close my door, but like it's too far away. So yeah, that just happened. But I just want to show you guys the seats in more detail. So you've got the headrest, which is like basically just a pillow. It's so plush. You have this beautiful quilted leather, and then you actually get real pillows with it. It's insane just how, like, again, the attention to detail. And that's the first thing I want you guys to notice in here is just all of the nice soft touch just everywhere. There's leather covering literally everything. Even the headliner is finished in leather. It's all stitched, everything. Like, it's crazy. Just again, all of the attention to detail back here. Now, the first thing I want to go over back here is the infotainment system screen. Now, you get one for both sides. Literally, both you get a screen. It is super similar to the screen there in the center. And one of the ways to turn it on is from the center infotainment system up front, which I will show you guys in a moment. But there's so much stuff you can do here, right? I can control the radio from the back here, and I can even control the navigation. So I can be like, hey, Jeeves, can you please take me to wherever I want to go? But other than that, the next thing that's really cool is the seats. Yes, you get heated and ventilated seats in the back. And on top of that, you do get massage function. Now, there's so many different massages. I've been told that the hot stone massage is the best to go for. So while I'm reviewing, I'm going to be getting a massage. So I can't complain, guys. Now, remember all these seat controls we talked about? Well, there's so many different functions that you can do on them. My favorite function, though, is what I call like maximum chill mode. And you press this button, and what it literally does is it says, hey, front passenger, I don't care about you. You're not important, but I am. And you can see it extends a footrest, which I'm not going to put my feet on because I don't want to dirty it or anything like that. But it gives you a footrest, and on top of that, it raises this part right here. So, like, literally, you have like the maximum amount of comfort ever. I mean, just, I'm literally lounging back here. And don't worry, guys, the craziness has not ended. So press this and you get some extra storage under here. And if you're wondering, it's just a couple little 12 volts so you can charge stuff. But I mean, look how nice this is. This is just a plug for a charger, and they finish it in such nice material. And yeah, that's that little part. Get this nice little clock, a couple of vents, which I did forget to mention. There are vents there at the top that you guys can see, which obviously help with airflow. And then if you press this, super elegant to reveal what? A couple of USBs, another 12 volt. Like, everything about this is just like uber luxury. And then over on this side, you actually do get some extra storage, and it just kind of like slow closes, which I think is really neat. But yeah, tons of storage in this little area. Now, these are the controls to actually control the climate system, and notice that I can press it in to control the seats as well. So I can like adjust the air conditioned seat that I have on in the back, or I can make it to adjust the climate system as well. And then this is the little button that I use to close the doors. Now, if you're wondering what this little snowflake means, well, that's your built-in champagne cooler. Yeah, so you put that in there, and well, you just pull it out, and you just show the world how much of a baller you are. But I mean, I don't have any other words for that. It's just crazy. You actually do get a center console too in the back, and it's got a couple cup holders, which I would presume would be used for those champagne glasses. And you guys thought that I was done with the center console back here? Nope. So we actually get a little tray, and it pops out. So you just press that button, and then it all kind of like whir to life. And then it even gives you little instructions on here on how to do the lock. So there's this little lock that you basically press, pull it up, put it across, and oh, I got fingerprints on it. I feel really bad, but you get another cup holder, and yeah, I mean, you could use this for whatever you want. It's like, it's awesome, and it's actually really cold to the touch, so it is refrigerated, which is nice. So like, if you don't want something to get too hot or anything like that, then yeah. And that's the storage tray that you get in the back here. So I thought I was done with everything in the back, and then I kind of found another feature. So you know how this function kind of moves the seat in the front? Well, if you just press this F button, it illuminates, and then you can just like literally go, yep, sorry front seat, get out of my way. Yeah, like you have so much control here, and with great power comes great responsibility, okay guys? Coming up front, again, you get those running boards, and the door panel here in the front is just as beautiful as the one in the rear. Notice that, again, you get all of your adjustments for the seats on the side of the door panel, all of your window controls up here, and it's not gonna be as cool as the back. It's just not the same, guys. But regardless, here are the seats in the front with, again, that beautiful quilted leather that's very soft to the touch, just looks and feels very premium. I mean, it just feels absolutely amazing. These are the pedals down below, and just look at the fit and finish even on the pedals, which you're pretty much never going to look at. And then you've got the little release for the hatch. Here's the back of the paddles so you guys can see those. But yeah, that's everything before we pop into the front. Now, the reason we're so close to the starter button is look at the trim around it. Like, just everything on this, they just go way over the top and just make it just luxurious. But that is everything popping on. Here's the steering wheel in the Range Rover. We've got this really nice leather trim with the black stitching there in the center. I really like the look of it. You get this nice black trim right there at the top, really smooth leather all the way around. Now, the cruise controls are on this side, and then on the other side, you got the controls for the little center stack right there. The paddles are made out of very nice material, and they've got little cutouts for the plus and the minus buttons. And then behind it, you've got your stock for the lights, and then you got your stock for the windshield wipers, but just overall super solid on the steering wheel. Here is the gauge cluster, and I really like it. So it is fully digital. You got the speed over on the left side, on the right side you got the RPMs, and then you get a little picture of your Range Rover. But there's a couple different menus you can scroll through. It's pretty much the same as all of the Range Rovers, so there's nothing new here. It just shows you different bits of information on the vehicle itself. You can look through your media, you can look through your trip computer, all that kind of stuff, just normal vehicle info for the driver. Now, with the infotainment system, let's quickly pop it into reverse. You guys can see what the backup camera looks like. Got those yellow trajectory lines that'll turn with the steering wheel, and the mirrors do tilt down when you pop it into reverse automatically. You've got all those parking sensors all around, and then I did want to show you the other camera views. So all you have to do is just press that little camera function right there, and then notice that you get that like full 360-degree view. And if you press the little camera button right over there, then you can basically just go through the different camera views that'll just show you all these different views around the Range Rover. Now, the rest of the infotainment system is just like all the other Range Rovers. So you get these little shortcuts just down below, and everything is pretty much the same. The one thing that I did want to show you guys though is the media tab. So this is one of the ways you can turn on the rear screen. So you got that rear media button, and then you can basically turn the system on or off from the front just with this function. So if I press the power button, then it'll turn it on, and then the person there in the back can use that rear screen. Down here is a bunch of controls for the driver. So you've got the climate controls. Remember, there is 4 separate climates, so 2 up front, 2 in the back. I mean, just crazy. You've got literally 4 seats, 4 climate zones. But you can control the seats here at the front, and notice you get massage function. So the front is just as luxurious as the rear from like a seat perspective. You just can't recline and all that kind of stuff, but I mean, you're driving anyways, so you probably shouldn't be doing that. But yeah, that's all that kind of stuff on the screen. And in terms of the settings tab, that basically you can just show, like, change the display. Like the settings on this screen make it so you can tilt it and all that kind of stuff, but there's that. This little vehicle page, and to change the drive modes, you do have to press this little button up, and then it'll take it out of auto and let you go through the different drive modes. Now you can use the dial, or you can press the buttons on the screen. So you've got that eco mode, and then notice how it kind of changes things there and in the little screen here. So like if I go over to dynamic, for example, it'll tell me that it's in dynamic mode there. It'll tell me it's in dynamic mode there, and again, you can also use the dial. So there's just lots of stuff with the drive modes. But other than that, you've got the mode for snow and gravel, for example, and then next to you got the mud ruts, and then next to that drive mode, you've got the sand program, and then finally, you've got the rock crawl as well. But if we pop the button back down, it'll go back into auto and do everything for us. In this whole like center area, first off, you've got the gear selector, which again, just material wise is very nice and premium feeling. Now it is just a dial shifter, and to get into the manual shift mode, you do have to push it in and turn it over. This just hides a couple of cup holders, but then you can put it back so that it just kind of looks like more uniform here. You get the SV Autobiography little plaque right there. And then notice you got the stability control, and then this is kind of like your off-road cruise control. This is that drive mode select, so all you do is just press that up and then I'll take it out of auto. That's for the air suspension. You've got the locker, and then this is your hill descent control, and that is your low range. And then finally, you've got your little parking brake in this whole area. We've got the center console here, and well, no center console would be complete without the fact that this is a fridge. So you get the champagne cooler back here, and then you get a fridge up here. Like it's quite ridiculous, but I love it again. And smooth touch leather. Now the glove box, just like the other Mac Daddy Range Rovers, it's those buttons. You press that and that'll open up this top part, which is lined with felt, and then the bottom part again lined with felt, and it's all soft touch leather all around the dash. All of this is just very soft to the touch, just all premium materials, and this is kind of like a nice little texture right there. Up top here again, we got the center for if you just kind of like lightly tap it, it won't do much. If you push it in harder, then it'll open automatically. And again, headliner all in leather. You get stitching all throughout. It's just crazy. Like even the sun visors, they did suede on the inside and then they did leather on the outside. Like they don't have to do this, but they did, and it's just amazing, and it brings this interior all together. Just like all the other videos, I want you guys to guess in the comment section below what this sticker is for before I show the total MSRP. And so here's all the standard equipment. And before I show you the base MSRP, I recommend you sit down if you're standing up. So there is the base MSRP before options, and notice that you've got obviously this premium leather, which is a $4,500 option. The steps are also almost $4,500. So yeah, there's definitely some pricey options, but with all options taken into account, the total MSRP is $221,835. Let's take out the most expensive car that I've ever reviewed and hopefully not crash and die and lose my entire life savings. Let's talk about visibility here in the Range Rover SV Autobiography before we set off. So visibility over the hood, it's actually really easy to see out of, and you just have this like really high up seating position. There's your visibility through the side mirror and the other mirror, and then here is all throughout the rear, which it has good visibility, and obviously you get to look at your beautiful quilted leather and leather ceiling. That all being said, let's set off. I am initially setting off here in the 2020 Range Rover SV Autobiography, and this has got to be the most comfortable driving portion of a review I've ever done. I've taken the advice, I've done the hot stone massage, and I can tell you right now, the seats are so comfortable and the massage is amazing. And first off, the ride quality on this, I just went over those train tracks, and this has 22s on it, and it just kind of like glides over them. It's just so smooth, it's so nice. And the other huge thing is the sound insulation with this. The sound insulation is just phenomenal. Like not a whole lot comes through into the cabin. It's absolutely crazy. And again, this is just so tuned for luxury, and it just does such a good job. Even like from being a driver, I can only wish that I could be like a passenger, just like chilling back there, just like in full recline mode, just not worrying about anything. It would just be so nice. But yeah, this is definitely like top tier in terms of luxury. Now don't worry, I didn't forget that this had SV in its name. I've got it in the dynamic mode here, and I'm just doing, I guess, like normal acceleration, seeing how the gear shifts are. And it shifts really smooth. This 8-speed automatic transmission has just impressed me across the entire Range Rover and Jaguar lineup. It goes through the gears so quickly, it goes through the gears so smoothly. It's just such a solid transmission in general. But don't worry, we will get a little acceleration in a moment. Going around this corner, I'm actually pretty surprised. The body roll is pretty minimal for how large this is. So I did look up the weight of one of these after I reviewed the first Land Rover Range Rover, and these are actually pretty heavy. They weigh well over 5,000 pounds, but it's really good on the body roll, and well, we got to get our acceleration. Well, yes, it does honor the SV name with ridiculous V8 sounds and ridiculous V8 power. This thing is so quick. I gotta get just like another little acceleration. And remember, I'm getting massaged right now. Oh my gosh, this thing is amazing. So yeah, I think that I don't really need to talk about the acceleration. It's well over 500 horsepower. It's quick, and it handles so much better than I expected for a vehicle that has like just all this weight in this. This thing, I think it weighs somewhere around like 5,700 pounds. It doesn't feel like it. Like, this doesn't feel like this crazy large thing that's hard to maneuver. It's really easy to maneuver. It's really easy to drive. It's super comfortable. Like, it's so solid. This thing is amazing. Now let's actually get into summing things up on this Range Rover. And I understand $220,000+, it's a lot of money, but this is also a lot of car. It has so many different elements, and it's not just like one thing. So, right, you've got the SV aspect of it, where it has that crazy supercharged 5-liter V8. It's got a ton of horsepower, a ton of torque, a ton of performance. And like I said, I feel like the handling on it is really solid as well. So you've got like that whole part of it where it's pretty much a performance SUV. And then you have everything happening in the back seat and the front seat with all of the luxury options. And so then it's this amazing luxury car. Well, then you throw in the fact that it has the towing capacity and everything. So you've got the receiver hitch on the back. This would be great at just towing stuff in general. And so then now we have a performance SUV, a luxury SUV, an SUV that is great at towing as well. And finishing things up, it's just a very practical vehicle in general. And so just as like an offering, again, I understand this is really expensive. I think it's worth the money because you're getting the Range Rover name, you're getting all of these different vehicles in one. And yes, I'm sure there's a vehicle out there that, you know, accomplishes some of the things that this accomplishes at a lower price point, but it doesn't have the same name. It doesn't have the same fit and finish. It just doesn't have everything that this has. And so, yeah, my overall thoughts on this is definitely the coolest vehicle that I've ever driven, to be honest, just because of all of the stuff it has. And if you can afford it, I definitely think this is worth a look. There we have it, everyone. The 2020 Range Rover SV Autobiography in the long wheelbase. And again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Range Rover in downtown Salt Lake for providing us with the SV Autobiography. Definitely check out their inventory in the link below, where obviously you can pick up new Range Rovers, and you guys can see they've got a ton of pre-owned inventory as well. I will see all of you guys in that next video.